what's up, people who actually enjoy playing this deck. It's really great fun. It's really awesome. Just a quick video, and I've got a few other things to talk about as well. I was going to talk about a few like tech cards and stuff to include in the Kiwi list, if you'd ever be interested in that. But yeah, we actually ended up getting a guide. So in this guide, the majority of it's written by Justin, the actual creator of the deck, which was awesome. Gentleman's become just a little bit too, busy and everything like that, so couldn't finish it. So I've ended up taking it on and finished the rest of it. And I think there's a bunch of great stuff in there. Of course, yep, no pressure to get it if you don't want or anything like that. I know we're at the end of the set, kind of. Store Champs is over. Will be over by the end of this weekend, and of course there's no redraws or anything like that. But better late than never, and I think a lot of this information should transfer over to set 7. I think even with the dual colors, maybe this deck should have the ability to stick around. It's such a very straightforward deck, unless the meta becomes all red blue or something like that. I think it will still stick around. So yeah, the guide will be out soon. It should be actually out by the time I record this video. Actually, I'll link my Metafy down below as well. Don't know why I said soon. It's because I haven't actually uploaded it yet. But by the time the video's out, I'll upload the guide on here, and you can come in here and pick it up. But I've got a couple other ones that's here. I'm just trying to build up my Metafy as well. So if you ever want to follow me on there as well, I should be doing some posts and stuff like that. I should actually get using this a lot more than I do. But yeah, it'd just be a guide, be matchup guides. We'll be talking about the deck, the philosophy, and sort of the ideas around why we play it and why we pick certain cards and stuff like that. So yeah, if it's something you're interested, definitely check it out. But just to add a little bit more spice to this video, so it's not just a short little advert for a guide. I want to talk about a few tech cards that we've been testing out. I think the deck's kind of very much at a point where whenever I change anything, I feel like it's not really a good idea to change it. But nothing's ever perfect in TCGs. I think you always have to evolve and adapt. Everything kind of is a circle, one player. We've got the new Dinkham Farms list out, and everyone will instantly be changing their lists for that, and be changing that for a bunch of cards that you hadn't really seen or a bunch of builds that you hadn't really seen before. So we have to keep on top of that as well. None of these changes I'm going to mention here have anything to do with DK Fam's list. I just want to point out that in TCGs things are always constantly changing. But yeah, as I say, the deck on the play, of course, always feels very confident. It feels like as long as you get the curve you want, you can win any matchup. On the draw, it feels like it can sometimes be rough, but I think there's a lot of matchups where you can get your 2-0s in. But we're just trying to make it sure it's 100% consistent at doing those two things. On the play, of course, just absolutely smashing it as an aggro list, and on the draw, trying to find the wins as well. And a few cards we want to try out. And I think, honestly, they've got so much validity behind them. You could put them in now, and it'd be absolutely fine, and the deck would run smoothly. And I'm pretty sure you could win store champs or some sort of 1K, 2K, or win a box that you might be playing locally during the set 6 period. And I think the cards, just to mention before I go into the cards I want to include, the cards that you could take out, I think, is Baboom. I also wrote this in the guide as well. It's made me think about it. Like, Baboom is only really. He was around there. The card was in there to react to shift lines like Robin Hood and Cinderella and the Queen. But to be honest with you, at this point, I'd prefer to play 2-drop, 3-drop, and then sink strength, and then take out the Robin Hood if they end up doing it, because you don't really see that many Robin Hoods. Besides, maybe in the mirror, I don't know what your locals is like, but I'm not playing too many mirrors. Even though a few of the people are quite interested in playing the list, which is great. But yeah, I think the Baboom is definitely the flex spot. It was only in there to react to things like that shift line and also Diablo. But to be honest with you, I'm not seeing any green steel here at all. Maybe a European thing, but I just don't see any of it. It's of course the answer, the Diablo. If they ever play it, because if they play it and they get too much value out of it, you just lose those games anyway. So you always have to build a Diablo answer into the deck, but I'm just not seeing green steel as much. So I think with these cards I'm going to mention, you can always -2 and +2 on these cards. So the first one's Simba, of course. You put the Simba in there just because we need more 1-drops. And what that would do is if your hand is bricked with a bunch of Alices or something like that, you can, or a bunch of Docs or something, you can cycle and discard one and get an Inkable or get another card to play on curve. So I think that's pretty awesome there. And you're just going to make sure you don't miss that turn one, and you've got something on the board that can start questing, or you can start doing the maths, or you can pop a Lawrence or a Pluto, or just getting something on the board. So he's been probably the best, and I'm not gonna lie, that doesn't come without a lot of looking, because Sapphire Steel does not have many good 1-drops. Of course, we're still not mentioning Captain Hook. I think Simba has a bit more value to him than that. I just think, yeah, It's definitely worth including if you maybe wanted to be a little bit aggressive on mulliganing for that one drop. You could include more one drops, so just put two Simbas in, so you go to 10. I'm not sure how much that increases your percentage chance, but I think it's still pretty good. Captain Amelia, I mean Captain Amelia, if there's no red cards around, I definitely think she's a really powerful card. She'd buff that four drop slot as well, which right now is pretty much just Pluto and Scrooge, and of course not every matchup's going to require you to do Pluto, and there's not every situation where it's going to require you to do Pluto because they might have steel removal to pop it, or you didn't get the Alice down, or they're just going to run something in with a crab like they've got a Chernobog crab. So playing Pluto is never that great. So Scrooge is pretty great because he's just all round a well statted card for 4 ink. But Captain Amelia means you can turn things sideways a bit earlier. I think as well, even as I say, red. I think maybe as well just the steel removal you get from Steel Song kind of makes it a bit tricky to play her. I like that she doesn't get challenged by Smear. I like that she quests for 2, and I do like the resist stuff. So overall, I think she's an interesting card, especially if you just 2x'd her. She's going to catch people off guard because then their head's going to be outright. So next turn, I hit that with this action, and then I run this thing into that thing, and they're like, hold on a minute, now I can't do that because everything has resist 1. Um, so I think that's really cool, and you can pair that with Cogsworth as well, so that's really good. And you get to a point where you've got like a Smee and Alice, Captain Amelia, Cogsworth, and you're all just questing every turn, and they can't really react to it that well. So I think she's very much an interesting card. I don't think you're 4x, so I don't think you make a game plan around her. But I think, yeah, 2, maybe even a 1 off. Maybe even one of the mix and match as well with these cards. Maybe do 1 and have 9 1 drops. I don't know. I'm not that sort of player who likes to do 1 offs like that, so maybe not. But yeah, I think she's very much an interesting card we could try out. And Chiimpo, it kind of counters out that Simba point that I made of you want to buff the 1 drops. Buffing the top end, so of course you might have some times where you have to ink your Cogsworths and stuff like that. Um, but topping out of a Chiimpo is also very, very good as well. Of course, Baymax isn't going to be great every game. If you're topping out with a Baymax, a 2/6 that's not really going to do much because you've got nothing to heal. Or he's just not going to be able to challenge. The same actually with Cogsworth, they're not really going to be able to challenge. But Chiimpo is very good because he controls the board, and then he also can fight things as well. He can hit 4s a lot. 4 clears pretty much everything, low to the ground. So I think that's pretty good. And another idea about taking the Babooms out is we just maximize the ability to, when we play off the top, we are going to be top decking into characters rather than a Baboom. So sometimes you'll have games where I'm sorry, sometimes you have games where you're absolutely going to win the game, but you top deck your strength for your Baboom or whatever, and it's like, oh, it just needed to be any character that I put on the board and started turning sideways with, but I lost so much tempo by top decking that strength. I think strength 100% still needs to be in the deck because sometimes you just lose because you weren't able to remove a character, but I think Baboom can go and would up the percentage chance of drawing a character off the top into the later games. So definitely think about including any of these. Imagine as well Cogsworth with this card. You can even do an awesome thing where you somehow fit all these cards in. Captain Amelia into Cogsworth into Chiimpo and completely lock them out of the board. Put a Baymax on top of that as well, and it just keeps questing. But yeah, these are some interesting tech cards I thought I'd mention, of course, and as well, it should be set 6 or what I'm going to call it, Kiwi guide, coming as this Metafire as well. So yeah, just a little update, and good luck with everyone on the Store Champs weekend, the final one.